June 29th marks the 100th anniversary of Ray Harryhausen's birth. Unless you're living under a rock or just don't watch movies in general, you definitely know about Ray Harryhausen. But just to recap, he's probably one of the most famous special effects people in the world. I have an entire book about him. Harryhausen, the Lost Movies and stuff. He made a lot of stuff. And a lot of the 50s B-movie monsters that, actually look good and don't look like they came out of Retro Party City were made by him. Like, for example, the Rhedosaurus, however you pronounce it, the Emir from 20 Million Miles to Earth, and probably the most famous of his creations, the Cyclops from the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, plus many more. So, in this video, I'll be reviewing a bunch of movies either made by him or about him, starting with one of the latter, Ray Harryhausen, Special Effects Titan. And that ends the first movie of the marathon. Ray Harryhausen, Special Effects Titan. Okay, I probably need that. There we go. So yeah, I finished Ray Harryhausen, Special Effects Titan. And I liked it a lot. It gave me new information on Ray, and the other directors commenting on his work was pretty cool. It's really amazing to know how many people were inspired by one man's work. But a downside is the editing. It looks like a YouTube video. It doesn't look like professional at all. Which I understand if it's low budget, but they could have put at least a little more effort on it. So I'll give it B+ or A-. Maybe even an A, actually. I think A- at the least. It was still pretty good. It's just that the editing felt a little too smoshish, I guess. And finally for this film, where to find it? Well, I don't know any other place to find it, but I watched it on Tubi. So if you have a Roku or have Tubi, then you can watch Ray Harryhausen Special Effects Titan, and I recommend it. Speaking of Tubi, the next movie I'll review is also on Tubi. Specifically, 20 Million Miles to Earth. And thus ends the first Harryhausen movie I've ever watched to the fullest. Sure, I've watched clips of the other ones, but never a full one. That record stops now. Anyways, what was my thoughts on the movie? It was pretty good. I mean, the characters were pretty two-dimensional. You got your typical 50s action hero, the typical lady who screams a lot, and scientists, and the villain. There was no villain, really. Well, actually, there was. I'll explain that right now. The Emir wasn't actually as antagonistic as I thought he would be. In fact, he was more like just a provoked animal than an actual villain. In fact, I think there's more character to the Emir than all of the humans combined. And I think that's really special and cool. It's like all of the character development that was supposed to go to the humans went to the emir. And it's not negative. But dull humans are really never an actual positive. So I'll have to give this one, I'd say like a B+. Next up is Jason and the Argonauts, which is said to be Ray Harryhausen's magnum opus. I was originally going to go for Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so I'm gonna go with Jason and the Argonauts. Jason and the Argonauts was kind of boring. Sure, the first act was, like, pretty good, but, like, the second act and the third act were, kind of a slog to get through. But, that doesn't mean the stop motion wasn't good. I mean, it's the best out of the two full-on Harryhausen movies I've watched. And, like, for example, the Hydra has 7 heads and a tail that all move at the same time. And it looks amazing. Same with the skeletons. I've heard that Ray Harryhausen actually took 4 months to complete the skeleton scene, and I think that time and effort went very well. But due to the pacing and time, I'll have to give this one a C, or at most a B-. With that said, the Ray Harryhausen 100 marathon is over since it's 11 p.m. and I'm kind of tired. Anyways,